Okay, so everybody's validated. What I want to give you a picture of is where we're headed. One of the things that is important in the IT world is that you don't try and reinvent the wheel to do everything you want to do. What do I mean by reinvent the wheel? Somebody tell me.
If it works, don't fix it.
If it works, don't build a new one that's completely different from it just to build something completely different. The reality is there are some things that you should have that are unique. A name, hopefully, a social security number. But there are some things you don't need to go reinvent just to have something that's useful. And websites are one of those things. Now, you can, what I'm not trying to do and what I don't want you to think we're doing is building clones of what Aaron's done. What we're going to do is use what I've done to give you a platform to build something that is your own. Okay? So, here is an example of essentially the template, the platform that you're going to utilize, but you will get to make it your own. You'll get to change any aspect of the design. You'll get to change any color, any logo, anything at all having to do with it, except for the limitation of while you're inside the student's website system, you won't be able to change themes. You won't be able to go to a different theme or use a completely new thing. We will provide you access to plugins that you'll be able to add on, utilize functionality from those, and there's some real advantages for doing it this way. But here are some attributes and some aspects about the website designed the way that it's been designed. And again, think about this not as a member of the Church of Christ who's been to a Church of Christ 1,000 times or 10,000 times in your life. Think about this from a visitor's perspective, because that's the audience you care about the first impression. When a visitor comes to your website, if they want to attend your congregation, what piece of information are they looking for most likely? How to get there, or what time, or both. What might be a secondary thing? A phone number, a way to contact you. Because let's go out of the realm of these are people not associated with the church. If someone's traveling through your area and they are members of the church and they want to potentially attend at your congregation, what do they generally want to do? Check you out and see what you teach. They want to get a hold of you somehow. What happens if you have a phone number on the front of the website that no one has picked up the phone in the last 10 years when it's called because it goes to a phone that nobody monitors? Number one, all of the spam calls that have come to that phone have not been answered. Congratulations. But neither have any of the legitimate ones. One of the things you need to be thinking about is we live in an age of communication, and when someone calls a business and they don't speak to a person, you've left a bad first impression. In addition to that, we have a problem in the brotherhood. People will call congregations actually looking for help. I know a situation where an individual who didn't live in the area was calling on behalf of his son who was in the military. He called 5 congregations in a metropolitan area. He did not hear back from any of them for 2.5 weeks. He left phone messages. He emailed their public email address. He tried every way he could to get connected with them to try and get his son, who was in the military, and his son's wife connected to do marriage counseling with a Christian. They ended up having to go through a marriage counselor with the military because they couldn't find a congregation that would respond to the calls and get back with them in a timely way. That's not the way it needs to be. We need to solve that problem. One way to do it, by the way, is with a little bit of automation, a little bit of technology, and be able to filter some of those calls. It's okay for someone to go to a voicemail if you tell them on the website that's what they're going to get when they call. Here's the thing that we know in business. If you set the expectation and then meet the expectation, the person's general reaction is satisfaction. Because you told them what they would expect, and they got what they expected, therefore, they were satisfied with the transaction. Jody Apple, I mentioned him earlier, in his radio program, International Gospel Hour. They have a phone number that they advertise in every episode. But during that show, during that radio program, when that phone number is mentioned, he specifically tells them, call and leave us a message. He lets them know that they will be leaving a message, not speaking to a human being. But then those messages are monitored. Here's why that's important. You don't have to have staffing answering the phone 24 hours a day. You can have a voicemail system do that. And there are now voicemail systems that will get the message, transcribe it, and email you a copy, and text you a copy of the voicemail. So you never even have to listen to the message. You can read the transcription, and generally, if it's not spam, call them back straight from your cell phone or from another service. Okay? Technology makes all of this possible. It's doable. It's easy, as a matter of fact. But we've got to actually care enough to do it. We've got to actually think through what's a visitor need to know and what are they expecting to get, and set the expectation. So if you're going to put a phone number out there and no one's going to answer it, if there's not a church secretary, if no one's going to return their call, then tell them they're going to leave a message. Set the expectation and even ask them to call and leave you a message. But if you ask them to call and leave you a message, you better plan on responding to them, and you better actually do it. You better set the expectation and then fulfill your end of it. Otherwise, the reaction to the person is, why would I go to that congregation? They don't care enough to even call me back when they told me they would. Okay? So, set expectations and then live up to them. So, what pieces of information is a visitor going to be looking for? They're going to be looking for directions, or an address, or a way to contact you, or your worship times. One of the things that I've built into this website, and again, this is a template, this is not a hard and fast, you have to have something that looks like this. This is giving you a set of resources and tools. You build on it what you want to. But a front page where you land on it, and the first thing that's available in great big bold buttons are, I need directions, I need a welcome. Okay, I'm interested in coming. I need worship times. I need to know what's upcoming, maybe events, and maybe some recent things. And the address is visible the moment they land there. Because that's the information they need. I didn't put the phone number visible the moment they land there because that's not really my preferred avenue for them to contact us. It's maybe second or third down on the list. I'd rather they send us an email, submit a web form. I'd rather they reach out to us that way because there's less possibility of it getting missed. Okay? So you get to decide that. It's your church, it's your congregation, it's your website. Focus on your strengths. Don't try and be strong in areas you're weak. Be strong in areas you're strong. Okay? So whatever those talents are. As you go down the page, you've got kind of a washed out image in the background, just piece of stone conveys an idea of solidity. You can replace that. It's up to you. You could have a picture of the congregation there with the text in front of it. I'll show you how to, I'll walk you through every step of this tomorrow. So you come down the way, you've got call us today, so you've got a phone number, you've got come visit us, you've got an address. If they want to send you a note, you say, well, I don't see a reason to have two different addresses or the same address twice. People can figure it out. What if you have a post office box where you get your mail? That's where you might use the third column. But I'll show you tomorrow how to get rid of the third column. If you only need one address column, we'll get rid of one column and life will be good. Again, this whole thing is customizable. It's 100% in your hands. I'm giving you a platform to build on. This is an opportunity, we just call this the welcome area, where they can click a button and they'll be able to send you a message via email or through a contact form. Upcoming gospel meeting. By the way, the good segue, we got a gospel meeting coming up in Collierville. Starts on Sunday. We would love to have you all in attendance. You're more than welcome. Sunday morning is at 9:30 for Bible class, 10:30 for worship, 1:30 in the afternoon. I'm sorry for the Forest Hill elders that are here. Worship times overlap. But Monday night also 7 p.m., Tuesday night 7 p.m., Wednesday night 7 p.m. I don't know who's doing the speaking. Somebody's doing the speaking. Oh, me. Sorry. Now, this join us, the remind me, those would jump to event pages where they could get a reminder or an email to say, hey, yeah, I want to come to this. Remind me about it. Worship times. The buttons at the top, by the way, I didn't really make this 100% clear. If you click the button at the top, it jumps you down the page to that information. Quickly navigate people to the information they need using buttons that go even within inside of a page. Instead of jumping you to another page, just jumps you down the page to the piece of information you want. Our location, you've got a Google map here. We'll show you how to embed a Google map that is a live and dynamic map. So if you need to know where the church building is for Monday night, Tuesday night, or Wednesday night, it's right there. You can get directions. Recent sermons, recent articles, things like that can be down at the bottom. Why are they at the bottom of the homepage? Somebody might be interested in them, but it's much lower of a likelihood. But you can scroll all the way to the top, and that information is also available up here in the main header. So if that's what they were looking for, they still would have had access to it the moment they landed on the homepage or any of the pages. They would have had quick access to it. But on the homepage, something you might highlight, but it's not necessarily what the visitors are looking for. Why would I prioritize the visitors over the members?
Members are going to be more patient. Visitors want quick information.
Members are going to be more patient. They're also more than likely going to get the information in an email during the week and never go to the website if you send out an email to the congregation. The other thing is they may already know where to go. You're trying to make the path easy for the people who need the most help. And those are people who are not familiar with your website or not familiar with your congregation. Give them a clear path. What's next? Where do I click? Where do I go? All right. That's kind of a preview of what's coming. What you have right now, I think, looks like this. Would you believe me if I could tell you in 45 minutes tomorrow you'll go from this to that? You will. 45 minutes or less. You may even get it complete, maybe partway customized in 45 minutes to your own colors and your own layout and your own pictures. You may be almost completely done in 45 more minutes. That's the speed that is capable with this system because it's built for efficiency. It's very detailed, it can be very in-depth, but it's built to be efficient. Comments or questions?
Would it be hard on your page to embed a small link that says back to top? So that way you don't have to scroll all the way back up to the top?
There's a built-in feature in the system. If you remind me tomorrow as we're going through the dashboard. Actually, here, I'll even show it to you right now so I don't have to remember. I keep telling you to remind me to do things tomorrow. You're going to come here with like a list 17 things long. In the theme options, in Pro, so we'll talk about all this tomorrow. I just want to answer his question. In miscellaneous, there is a scroll top anchor. You scroll far enough down the page and it'll put a button on the side where people can click the button. It just pulls them all the way back to the top. So it's as easy as clicking a button, and now you have one. You didn't have to code anything. Any other comments, questions?
Is there an app for website management along the lines with, like, that connects with this particularly?
There is a WordPress app, and you can connect the website to WordPress.com, which is run by the company that originated WordPress. And using that authentication, you can create posts, you can create articles. You wouldn't want to necessarily do a lot of the management. You wouldn't want to do the design there. It's intended for, from your phone, quickly posting some content or an image or picture or article or something like that. It's more geared towards bloggers than it is something like a business or a church website. But yes, it's there.
On the website, you have a place where they can see events, upcoming events. You show the gospel meeting that's coming up Sunday through Wednesday, Monday and Wednesday. What is it, 7 to 8 o'clock?
Yes.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yeah.
Yes.
So, is there a way on your site that you've created where people can sync your calendar, your events calendar, with the calendar in their phone?
You could do that through a tool. Most people, if they were going to do something like that, they would use a Google Calendar and allow people to sync it up. That's not necessarily something that you would natively get from WordPress out of the box, but it's a Google search away for a plugin that would do something like that, yes. There are a lot of calendar plugins and a lot of things that will give you really spiffy tools and functionalities there. Again, it's why I use WordPress. A couple months ago, somebody who was a client of mine, just a business client, they said, hey, I want a website that does this just like this person over here. And I went and checked, and this person actually is a business person, podcaster, personality, and they post like their monthly income. And their monthly income last month was $136,000. And I thought, they have a web team. There is no way I'm ever going to be able to emulate what they've done. And she's like, well, if you can figure it out, I'll pay you to do it. I found a tool that was, it wasn't 100, it was 90% as good as whatever his multi-person web team had done. And in a few hours, I had emulated the look and the functionality of what he had done. And he probably paid somebody $165 an hour to go build it. But the reality is someone already has that out there. So there's incredible functionality inside of WordPress. And there's also some automation. Let's say you wanted to write an article. Here's a thought. You want to write an article and publish an article on your website every week for a year. Would you need to remember to write the article every week and go post it on the website? Nope. You could write 52 articles in the first month of the year and go schedule every single one of them to post, and for the next 11 months not have to post an article every week, because you could just tell it release it on Monday at 10 o'clock and the next one Monday at 10 o'clock, Monday at 10 o'clock. And you could go batch it all out in advance and let it release on a schedule, because we care about efficiency. We care about doing things that scale, and we care about doing things that work well. Got a gospel meeting coming up. How often do you plan the gospel meeting the week before it happens? Hopefully never. You schedule it out 3 months or 13 years, some congregations. I'm scheduled for a gospel meeting in 2025 in a congregation in Tennessee, because that's how far out they were scheduled 5 years ago. They asked me 10 years in advance, not because of my schedule, but theirs. Well, go build the event for 10 years, for 5 years from now. You can do it. You can literally do it. All right, that's what WordPress does. I'm going to be quiet now unless there's any other questions. I'm going to let y'all go. All right, you're dismissed. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. I hope you've learned something and gotten some value out of this.